Hi everyone, it is Monica here from TVandPopcorn.com, and I am here to do a review on The Walking Dead. I've been keeping up with The Walking Dead, I would say, as far as episode per episode. Since season 4, but I had to binge watch it to catch up on it from season 1 to season 3. Now, this was probably about, I would say, a little over a year ago that I did that, and then I started watching it from episode to episode and following it on a regular basis from season 4 now here up until season 5. And I've been wanting to review it for a very long time, but I really didn't know how because before season 4, The Walking Dead had so many characters coming in and out, and it was just so much going on. So I was like, you know what? I don't know if I want to review it right now or not because I wasn't used to everyone. Then I was being binge watching it, so I really didn't understand everything that was going on. So it took me a while to kind of play catch up. Well, since season 4, I really got invested in the characters and really kind of began to understand what was going on and all that good stuff. And I think I have built the confidence to go ahead and give my first review on the show. So right now, listen everybody, if you have not caught up on the most recent episodes of The Walking Dead, which right now they are in season 5 and we are on episode 7 entitled Crossed. If you have not seen any episodes up until episode 7, please by all means cut me out, tune me out, and then catch up and come back and check out my review of The Walking Dead so far. So everybody, here's where I'm at. From episode 1 of The Walking Dead of season 5, I was like, okay, this is going to be crazy. So the first episode was titled No Sanctuary. And in No Sanctuary, it was pretty gory, and the group had all come across Terminus. Well, everyone except for Carol and Tyrese. They were both MIA from the rest of the group, but pretty much everyone else had stumbled across Terminus at this point. And the people of Terminus had everybody captive. Well, here's the thing. I was really, really, really worried by the time we got over to episode 2 because in episode 1, the group had decided once they ended up breaking away from the people of Terminus, and this is with the help of Carol, who created a diversion which caused everybody else to be able to do their thing and fight their way out. I really thought that Terminus was going to be a huge problem throughout the season, and I don't know if some debris of that group is still running around at this point. But honestly, I was almost willing to not watch The Walking Dead until the final episode of season 5 aired, had they tagged them along for longer than the episode 2, because I was so frustrated. I'm like, oh my gosh, now we have people out eating people, and I'm gonna have to sit and watch through this. I don't think I could take the stress level right now. So I really was worried. But by the time we got a little further down, a little further along, in episode 2, we do see that this group is still around and that they are still alive. And by episode 3, Four Walls and a Roof, Rick and the group takes the Terminus group out. Well, those who were, preying on them at the time, which they were the Terminus group. Now, before Rick and his group took out the Terminus group, they actually captured Bob. The Terminus group captured Bob, who was a part of Rick's group. Now, what they did was they cut off Bob's leg below the knee, and they literally cooked Bob's and ate Bob's leg. But they had no idea that Bob had been bitten by a walker before they captured him. Now, this was a huge buzz amongst the social media world at the time, because they was like, okay, Bob must be the tainted meat. Now, forgive me, everybody, because I did not and I do not follow the Walking Dead comics. I had no idea there was a Walking Dead comic until I started watching The Walking Dead and starting to get to know a lot of those who are truly fans of the show. And just recently, my mom came to me and she said, "I've been hearing about this show, and I want to know what is it all about. And I don't think I could sit down and watch anything about zombies." And I said, "Well, Mom, honestly, I love it because it's realistic. I think it shows a lot of reality as to the way the world would actually react if we ever were in some type of zombie apocalypse." And she said, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah, you kind of get really invested in the characters, and it's not just, some gore splashing slasher thriller, but you are actually watching people who are struggling with the fact that they're in this world with the Walking Dead, and if they don't watch their backs, they could be bitten and turn into the Walking Dead, or they can die and simply become a zombie because everybody has this virus." So my mom recently called me and now she's binge watched seasons 1 through 4 and was like, "How can I get season 5? What's going on?" And I think she has direct TV, so she's been now putting the I guess you could say, what is it, recording it on her DVR. I don't have direct TV, so I guess that's the lingo there. So she's been recording it on her DVR, and she missed the first 5 episodes. So she's purchasing them on Amazon so that she can watch them. And I said, "Mom, you are officially invested in The Walking Dead right now." So she's liking it. She's over the hump of the gore and everything, and she's really invested in the characters, and she really wants to see what's happening between Rick and his group. And she recently came to me and she said, "I remember a quote that Rick told Carl, and that was when they were in the church, and Rick and Carl was having a heart to heart, and I do believe this might have been in episode 2, and Rick was just telling Carl that no matter how good people appear, that you can't trust them." And so my mom was just saying how she remembers that and how she's, kind of like, wow, that's so true in what they're going through. And I'm like, that's kind of true right now, period. But back on The Walking Dead, as far as where we are today, let's see here. We are on episode 7, Crossed. And what we're dealing with right now is the group going to save Beth and Carol from those who have captured them. Now, the people at the hospital, honestly, I'm trying to see where this goes because I don't know if they have good intentions or if they just want slaves. I honestly, I can't call it right now. I really can't. But I feel like there may be some good intentions behind it, but what they're doing is they're going off and they're picking up those who are sick and who may be harmed in some way, and they're bringing them back to the hospital. They have doctors, they have cops on standby, and they are nurturing people back to health. But once you come back to health, you're pretty much there and you can't escape. And I mean, even to the point that if you do escape, they come hunting after you. That's the part that trips me out because I'm like, if you really want to do someone good, if they are well, why would you go after them to see where they've gone if you just want them to be well? If you've done your job. But it seems like they're bringing people back to health for their own benefit, to have these people doing things for them long term, or to pay off their debt. Because in episode 4, Slab Town, we see Beth and she's there and they've nurtured her back to health after being knocked out and fighting a zombie and after passing out. And what's happening is when she goes to eat something, it's like they're putting this on her tab. Everything that happens there, they're putting it on your tab, and you have to stay there for a period of time and work off that particular debt. And so Beth is being really careful about what she does, even to the point of eating food, because she doesn't want to stay there any longer than she has to. So we're at that point now where Carol and Daryl finds out where Beth is. Now, at this point, they are having to run around the city of Atlanta, and they find out that she's in Grady Memorial. And what's happening is they're running from zombies and they're hiding from these people just in case they get caught. At this point, Carol is hit by a car, and lo and behold, the people from the hospital come pick her up to quote unquote save her. So now Carol's captured right along with Beth. So in the recent episode, episode 7 Crossed, we have Rick and the group going to save Beth and Carol, but at this point, okay, they have conflict, and Rick is saying, okay, I think we should just go in quietly, take out who we need to take out quietly, not using any guns, because we want them to have the element of surprise. We don't want them to know that we're coming. And then we have Tyrese, who speaks up and says, well, I think that we should go a different route and we should capture two of the cops. And once we capture two of the cops, then we can kind of use that as a bargaining chip to say, okay, if you hand us our people, we'll hand you your people and we'll leave quietly. At this point, Rick does not agree with Tyrese's plan. But Daryl jumps in and pretty much puts his stamp of approval on Tyrese's plan, so that's the plan that they go with. Okay, I'm really gonna get into this because I always have this one question I'm gonna ask in just one moment. One moment. So we get to the point now where they're running this plan and they see two of the cops and they capture them. But what they did was they used the new character Noah as bait. And when they used Noah as bait, these cops, of course, they knew Noah escaped the hospital, so of course they're ready to capture him. And that's when Rick and the group walk behind these cops. Now, what's going on here is they're capturing the cops, but they have lookouts apparently, so that didn't last too long. Next thing you know, two other guys get involved, and then Rick and the group recaptures these men, and one of these men talked them into allowing him to tell them how to take down the leader of the hospital and pretty much talk her into handing over their people. Okay, now at this point, he devises a plan against Sasha, which is Tyrese's sister, and he talks Sasha into, I guess you could say, one of those emotional states of leveling with him and understanding him. And what this cop does is he convinces Sasha that there's a friend of his outside that's a zombie that he really feels bad for and can't believe he's become a zombie. Sasha believes it. She takes her gun and tells him, I'll help you with this. She walks to the window and goes to shoot this zombie pretty much in the head to take him out, so his friend won't have to remember him in that light, and he headbutts her into a window and bam, she hits the floor. So now they have this cop who, after he takes out Sasha, or knocks her out because he didn't kill her, he runs out the door. So guess what? You know who he's running to, right? He's running to the head over the hospital so he could tell her that this group is after them, and then boom, all of this stealth mode is gone out the window. So here's my problem, everybody. Here's my main question. Why? I understand that when you're in this position, you're trying to hold on to some type of sanity. That's what Rick's group stands for. They're trying to hold on to morals, and they're trying to hold on to, I guess you could say, some sunshine, something good in life. But my thing is, why not just do things straight up? They, of course, they can't trust these people. I feel that Rick's plan would have worked a whole lot better just going straight into the enemy's territory, taking them down right then and there instead of trying to capture their men. Why? Because you can't trust a word these people say. You don't know what their motives are. You're just now meeting them. And the fact that they're capturing people and you never see them again, they never release them, should tell you that there is something wrong with these people. Somewhere. I mean, something. They're human. I'm not saying going in and killing them, but I mean, hey, if you could go in there and put the little handcuffs around them and have them laying there, why not? Or maybe even stick a sock in their mouth. I don't know. Keep them from saying anything and then do what you have to do. So, now, as of episode 7, we are stuck with Rick and his group who are watching over these cops that they've captured, quote unquote, doing the right thing. And now Sasha's laying in a room. As of this episode, no one knows that she's been, pretty much knocked out. So where do they go from here? Will they find out in time? Will he come back with enforcements? So right now, Rick's group is kind of left blind because they have someone whom they thought they had captured going and tipping everybody off in the inside. So, how will Beth and Carol get out of this situation? Now, in episode cross, we do see that someone talked, and I think it's the same cop, talked the head over the hospital into taking Carol off of her pretty much life support because she was badly injured, and he was saying that they were wasting resources. So what she did was she handed Beth the keys to the medicine cabinet, and Beth got information from the doctor saying, "Okay, listen, what can I use to save my friend?" Pretty much. And so she gives Carol this medicine. So here's the cool question. And I think Carol will survive. I'm rooting for her to survive. She's a fighter, so I'm really rooting for her. Now, if she does, it could be that Carol's going to wake up just in time for her and Beth to fight their way out and meet Rick and the group halfway. So, pretty much that means Rick and the group, they're coming, and Carol and Beth will be, also on the move, and they'll just kind of meet in the middle and take care of things together. I'm kind of hoping that's how it works out, but you never know. So that's where we are with Carol and Beth is doing a good job at keeping her head. She learned really quick how to deal with these people, so I'm really rooting for her to continue to use her wisdom that she's gained in dealing with these people and keep her head low so that way she'll survive through this. Now, some really, really cool discussions here with The Walking Dead. Eugene. Whew. Okay. Now, since you're still hanging with me with this review, you know that Eugene lied about having a cure. Okay. He had, and I want to make sure I'm saying this right, Sergeant Abraham Ford running around gathering strong people who can help them in this quest and this journey to Washington so that Eugene can, I guess you could say, put this cure into motion for this zombie apocalypse. Okay? Now, Eugene admits in episode, I do believe it was episode 6, I do believe, that he did not have a cure, but he was only saying that so that they would help him survive, pretty much because he has no fighting skills. And since that time, even on this journey, he still hadn't killed a zombie. Everybody else was doing it for him. Now, the sad part about it is a lot of lives and resources were lost in this quest for nothing. Now, here's the question. Here's the debate, everybody. Here's the debate. Is it Eugene's fault that people believed him, or is it Abraham's fault and the fault of the others that they actually believed him? Because I think for a long time when this whole cure came into play, nobody believed Eugene who were actually fans, watching the show. And of course, this is a show, everybody. I know this. But I'm saying nobody believed that Eugene had a cure. I mean, something was very weird about him. And every time he was asked a reasonable question, he would go, "It's classified." And on this episode, I believe it was episode 4, they were all on the bus, and he was talking about how everything was classified, and basically his reasoning for not telling. And they're like, hey, we're all in this thing together. And he was like, well, what if we survive? And I'm like, come on, that is the weakest I've heard, seriously. So anyway, he tells the group that he doesn't have a cure, and Abraham ends up knocking him out for the count, seriously. And then in episode 7, Cross, we kind of see that Eugene is coming to. Now, they never showed him coming to, but we do see, and I got to get her name right, Maggie. We see Maggie go over and she begins talking to him. So, but they never show him. But at first, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, he's died and turned into a zombie because he made this really weird, zombie noise. But I thought that was an absolute trip at the fact that he had no cure. But he kept saying this one thing. He said, I'm intelligent. And I'm like, I guess intelligent isn't a cure for being a coward, because you were just a coward and you came up with this whole thing and you were cool with watching people die up until you met Rick's group. You were cool in seeing other people die for this, and you knew it wasn't true. So what makes you worse? I mean, even if you were just protecting yourself, people still dying on your behalf. So being around you is about as bad as being around a zombie. Just saying. That was my thought anyway. So here is how I feel. Here is where I'm at, because I would love to continue reviewing The Walking Dead. And I feel pretty comfortable with where I am with The Walking Dead, and I'm really following it as a fan. So now I can really, just dive in and say what needs to be said or how I feel. So, okay. From season 1, the group was kind of together for a moment, minus Beth. Okay, Carol rejoined the group because in season 4, Rick had left Carol, off by herself, so he didn't really know what happened to her since the whole governor thing, which my mom said she wanted to stop watching The Walking Dead once the governor came along. And I was like, I second that motion because I could not stand him. But anyway, they all came together for a moment. Carol, Tyrese was reunited with the group, and of course, Tyrese had no idea that Sasha was still alive. So that was really a touching moment. So the group was all together again, and then what happened was they end up breaking off again because Daryl and Carol went their way, and then the and Maggie and Glenn went with the other part of the new group, pretty much, or the new people added to the group, which included Abraham and Eugene. And they were going off to help them get to Washington before they found out that Eugene didn't have a cure. So, what I really liked about the episode, which I don't know if a lot of fans will agree with this, but I liked it because it kind of allowed me to catch my breath with all that was going on. I liked how they showed the whole group together again, and then what they did was they showed the different paths the groups went on. So now they're showing where Beth is, because that was a huge question since she was captured a little further up in season 4. And now they're showing, they broke off and they showed you where Daryl and Carol went when they were searching for Beth, or when they were going after the little car with the cross on it, which is from those who are driving around picking up people from the hospital. So they broke off and they showed all these different things. So Rick and the group pretty much have been out the picture for the past 2 episodes, episode 4 and episode 5. Oh, I'm sorry, and episode 6. So it didn't show the whole group again, and didn't show different points of perspective until episode 7, which I personally really like about this season. I was a little nervous about the season with Terminus being into play, but since they kind of took that out the picture really quick, and like I said, I don't know if there's going to be some type of debris of Terminus coming up. I really do not know, because there might be some survivors left over from that group that I didn't catch. And also, I'm constantly keeping in mind there also might be those out there who actually tortured the Terminus group to turn them into what they were. Because what we learned about Terminus is that they were good people, and they're, I mean, good, it's just by definition, if you can really practice it. I mean, we all have a fool in us somewhere. But they were doing things, I guess you could say, the moral way, and they were inviting people in, and they were really trying to help others when this group came along and pretty much began to do some pretty foul and insane things to them. In order for them to survive, that's when they turned over to the whole cannibalism thing and began to kill people who came amongst their group. And they kind of did that for protection, but they assumed that everybody else was like this one group. But the thing is, I have not forgotten that that group could very well still be out there. So I'm just happy that right now I don't have to deal with any type of terminus or, humans eating humans type of things. It's just, I mean, I'm used to gore because I was a horror movie fan for a very, very, very long time. I mean, that's my thing. And I still prefer thrillers over cute little romances and dramas. I love a good suspense. So this is good, and it's not that I couldn't handle that part. It was just that I was going to be so mad that these people was out here and getting away with what they were doing. So I'm kind of like, bring them to justice, that type of thing. So that's my thought there. And also, I had to mention this as a first time review for The Walking Dead, that I am cracking up at how they include Morgan every blue moon throughout the seasons. Where is he? What is he doing? And I've seen some really funny memes on Facebook where they're saying that Morgan is the one who's cutting everybody's grass because the grass is so low in The Walking Dead. So they're saying that this is Morgan walking around doing it. So that's pretty funny. Another thing I want to bring up really quick too, it's the father or priest or whatever, Gabriel Stokes. Gabriel, okay. In this episode 7, Crossed, this goof gonna he's takes the knife from Carl, because Carl is saying, hey, you got to pick a weapon. We got to teach you how to defend yourself because we can't stay in one place for a long period of time. So Gabriel picks this really huge, I guess, I forgot the name of the knife. You all may know the name of the knife, but it's huge. And instead of going in his room and going to sleep, as he said, because he said he felt sick and he was really in there trying to, scrub blood off the floor from when the group took out the Terminus group. And so he says he feels sick. Michonne and Carl are there and they're watching Judith. So he goes in his room, he locks the door. And what's happening is he's taking that knife that he took and he's taking up the floorboards. And the whole time I'm yelling at the TV going, you idiot, what are you doing? Michonne comes knocking at the door, which they didn't show what he was doing initially before this part, but she comes knocking at the door and asking him if he's okay, and she's reassuring him that they're doing what they have to do to survive. Well, at this point, he closed the door, kind of act like he's still just in that zone of getting him some rest and being ill. And he's taking up the floorboards and he runs off. He escapes through the floor. Okay, at this point, he's going through the woods. He is attacked by a walker. The walker falls onto one of those like stake type of sticks that's out of the ground, and he goes to pick up a rock to bash this zombie's head, but he decides not to, and he sees the cross on the zombie's neck. So the whole time I'm screaming like, you idiot, where are you going? You don't even know how to defend yourself, is what I'm saying. But I don't know if he's afraid of the group. I don't know if he's afraid of Rick and Michonne and, Carl and Tyrese and everybody else. I don't know if what they did to the Terminus group freaked him out or if he still has his own secrets. But from what I could tell, when he went to kill or to attempt to kill the zombie after the zombie was pretty much down for the count, but still alive, of course, he decided not to. And I think that he's running from what he's I'm thinking he's running from what he's afraid he'll become or what he knows he's already become, but he's fighting it. Because from what it sounds like, when he shut down his church one night, some people were still out there and he had already locked the doors and he would not let them in. And so that was kind of him defending himself and becoming that person that he sees in the group, as far as them defending themselves and being able to kill zombies and, take out actual people when necessary. And I feel like he's either A, running from fully becoming that, or he's running from the fact that he's already become that. And he's just, fighting it and trying his hardest not to continue on with that. But at this point, with The Walking Dead, I'm like, hello, you're amongst the zombies. People haven't eaten for days. So you're running into these groups who are really trying to survive. um, my logic initially was, okay, why doesn't everyone just come together and build, one strong community of people? And that's when I said that The Walking Dead to me is realistic, and they deal in realistic emotions when it comes to if something like that was to really happen. Because when the governor came along, I mean, this guy, he had those hints of maybe he wants to do right, but the whole time I'm thinking you are just just evil, because you see him taking out military men and everything just to get their goods. And he became someone who, and I, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh gosh, how many people we have like that in the world, depending on the survival rate? How many people would we have trying to play, God or the new president or the new, head honcho? So I felt like that was exactly what it was. We weren't dealing with a man who was really trying to help people per se. We were dealing with a man who was seeking power in the world's current state. And so that really freaked me out a little bit, because I'm like, that seems so realistic. I mean, even now, of course, in the real world here that we do live in, we don't have zombies, but we have people going through that power struggle every day. So that's why I say, wow, this is very realistic when it taps into the emotion of how you would feel, even with the couples, that are dating each other at this current time, how they feel about each other, how they um, actually embrace and hold down each other. And Tyrese tried to really help Sasha because, of course, in this season, Bob was pretty much killed by the Terminus group, and they cut off his leg, and well, they didn't officially kill him, but they started it. Of course, he was bitten by a zombie, so he was going to turn eventually, and they waited until he turned. So he survived long enough to speak with Sasha before he went out. But I really feel like it was touching when Tyrese tried to say, "Hey, I'll be there for you," and that's his sister, and he knows what she's going through, because he also lost someone that he was interested in and a loved one when Carol pretty much took them out and handled the situation, set them on fire because they had this really bad disease that was spreading amongst them when they were in the prison. So it's very realistic to me, as far as, just that emotional side of things and how I would react if I was in their shoes. Overall, right now, with where we are in season 5, I feel like Walking Dead is going the way I would have liked it to go. Now, do I feel like it's as strong as other seasons? I'm going to hold out my verdict on that, because I want to give them a little bit more room to tell the story. So then we'll see. What is my favorite season right now? I would say season 2. I love the fact that they were on the farm. I thought the farm was the best season to me, because it really gave you a chance to kind of get a feel of everybody, and they weren't all over the place. um Once they got over into season 3, or moved on and got deeper into the episodes of the prison and all that, I just felt like everything was just so out of control. But season 2 is hands down my favorite as of right now. Where season 5 stands amongst them is kind of hard to say, but I am enjoying where it's going. So that is my review on The Walking Dead. And I do hope that you all enjoyed it. If you've hung in there with me all of this time, because let me tell you, I've been wanting to review The Walking Dead for a long time. I've just been very, very, very hesitant to do it because I'm like, can I even keep up? So I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me. And there will be more reviews to come. And if you are one of my revenge fans who have been following me, I love you guys. I appreciate all of your support and you following this channel. Keep in mind, if you have listened to this, if you watch The Walking Dead, or if you want to start to watch The Walking Dead, however, let me know what shows you're interested in because I really appreciate you all. And I started reviewing with the show Revenge initially, and it's been one of my favorite shows. I've been following it since season one, so I was very comfortable and love this show, a huge fan of it. But I also want to make sure that I'm reviewing shows that you like. That's how much I care about you guys following me. And you Walking Dead fans, if you have enjoyed my review, please, please, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you all as a subscriber. And once again, this is Monica. You can come check me out at www.tvandpopcorn.com. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye bye. Bye. Bye.